Did you know that 2016 marks the 20th anniversary of the Tomb Raider franchise? You know, that's a pretty big accomplishment.
I know!
Although I will say, you look like you're more in your 30s.
I've got 2 loaded weapons that will make sure you don't finish that sentence.
Promise?
Ugh.
Oh, come back. I promise. No more innuendos. Let's go ahead and dig into Tomb Raider: The Prophecy, the final installment in the Tomb Raider Handheld franchise. I wonder if we'll unearth a gem this time around.
And if not, I could always just retire. Maybe get a nice house with a couple of gents, have a wacky sitcom about my life.
Wait, what? Really?
No, you tosser. Just hit the power button and let's get on with it.
Tomb Raider: The Prophecy was released exclusively on the Game Boy Advance in 2002. Although this was the last of the handhelds to not be a port of an already existing game, Prophecy puts Lara into the unfamiliar world of isometric action platform titles, one she'd never experienced before. Does the final product have what it takes to remain in your portable portfolio of games? Let's take a look. Although the game is credited as being developed by Core Design, the creators of the Tomb Raider franchise, the credits of the game only mention Ubisoft's Milan studio as the developers. Though Core was still in charge of the franchise, they were most likely signing off on the title's design since they were in the midst of developing their final entry in the main series, Tomb Raider: Angel of Darkness. The Prophecy is a large departure when compared with the previous Game Boy Color titles. Gone is the flashback and early Prince of Persia platforming mechanics and walking cycles. The Prophecy features an isometric graphical style, one never featured in a Tomb Raider game before this release. In fact, the Prophecy would later influence the current developer of the series, Crystal Dynamics, into crafting such titles as Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, and the most recent release, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. Though those later titles will put a bigger focus on online multiplayer, the games can still be played in single-player mode, just like their handheld predecessor, so it's nice to see a little handheld inspire bigger ideas in the modern era of gaming. The story is a fairly simple one, with Lara discovering the Tomb of Ezekiel. Once inside, she discovers a reading that tells her about 3 powerful stones that are infused with magic. These stones are being sought after by a cult called the Teg du Bores. These hooded fellows are trying to recover the stones so they can bring back a creature called the Great Grey One.
Reminds me of a movie I saw. You know, one with like a cult that...
The greater good.
Yeah, that...
The greater good.
Yep, we got it.
The greater good.
I'm gonna go back to the game now.
Lara controls vastly different in this game than in previous titles. Gone are her flashy climbing moves that allow her to show off. You can move with the directional pad in a 360-degree motion all over the levels. Holding down the L button allows Lara to run fast, but she can run out of stamina fairly quickly, so timing is the key when using this during platforming. The A button allows Lara to jump, and the R button pulls your guns out. Lara is always dual-wielding, and for whatever reason, her range of motion is a bit more limited while her firearms are in use. When encountering an enemy, she automatically locks on, allowing her to perform dodges through acrobatics. She can jump backwards, forwards, and side to side. However, she can't run when her guns are out, nor can she put her guns away while jumping. Firing her weapons is as simple as pressing the B button to let out bursts of gunfire, but they never happen as fast as you would like them to. There's a slight rhythm behind defeating enemies, and yet more often than not, all the dodging that Miss Croft does is a bit of a waste of time, as most enemy attacks can be avoided with a properly timed jump straight up in the air. In fact, there were many times where flashy dodging ended up killing me. The combat here is engaging, but oftentimes not as challenging as I'd like it to be. Just like in the previous game, there are different types of guns that can be acquired. Starting off with the main dual guns worked for me throughout most of the game, but there were two other options available. One was the Uzi, which allowed for a faster and more powerful fire rate. This was my weapon of choice for most of the later stages, as it allowed me to expel enemies quicker. However, the last weapon of choice is the golden gun.
Excuse me.
What?
The golden gun is a GoldenEye weapon.
So?
So? You can't call it that. Besides, it looks more like a taser.
It doubles as a laptop gun.
That's perfect dark.
Okay, you got me. It's just a taser taped to an ice cream cone.
I knew it. Wait, what?
The golden gun has a short range of fire, but is the most powerful weapon. Hold down the B button and begin charging it, and after approximately 3 seconds, letting go of that button will fire an extremely strong electric shock that kills most enemies in one hit. But if you don't charge it enough, or at all, the gun is extremely slow to use. It also has quite the short range, so use it wisely. Platforming in this title is certainly a different experience than in earlier Tomb Raider games. Lara's jump has a bit of a maneuverable float to it. When jumping, Lara can continue to move midair, almost as if there's lighter gravity. This can benefit your playthrough if you aren't as accurate with your jump, so you don't over or undershoot them. Lara will also grab onto ledges when you get close to them during your jump, and even though she doesn't have all her previously flashy moves, I feel like this game is easier to digest and master thanks to more fluid controls. It's also better paced, with the map being catered to Lara's figure quite proportionally. Moving around the levels is more fun here than in the previous handheld adventures. I get a wider scope of vision just by standing in one place, so I feel that the isometric viewpoint is a smart move for this kind of game. However, there are some graphical conundrums here that bother me. The palettes in this game all feel very flat and distant. Muddy browns and ghostly grays fill the screen, and rarely will Lara see the colors that she saw on the previous Game Boy Color titles. Backdrops and detail in the levels themselves is quite strong, with ancient patterns carved into stones and different types of decorations on the walls. While it was clear Ubisoft was going for a grittier, more modern look, it actually causes problems with platforms bleeding into the background. Sometimes I'll misjudge a platform's width and fall right off thinking I had more room to walk. There's no look around option, so if you're looking for hidden items like in the previous game, think again, as everything is pretty much in plain sight. There's also some pretty obvious bugs in the game. If you pull up your menu with the select button, sometimes one of the icons for an item will be all jumbled, but this happens pretty infrequently. I did notice that sometimes I will kill an enemy with the appropriate amount of shots, but he won't disappear. I can't kill him because I can't lock onto him, even if I leave the room. Unlike the previous titles, this game features a simple password system instead of a save state. It makes getting back into the game easy with only 4 characters required for a successful password. But the password system isn't based on your specific inventory, it's just a generic code that anyone can use. The password entered will give you the correct items that are required, such as certain materials to open doors, or one of the magic stones that you collect at the end of a specific level. However, ammo and health packs are lost when you die, so if you walk away from the game, the code you use will give you a much lower amount of ammunition and health packs. Lara Croft's inner monologue is how players experience most of the story, and while it seems pretty run-of-the-mill, at times it has that sassy wit that Miss Croft is known for, and other times...
What's that all about?
A lady never reveals her secrets.
You just did!
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I don't know what's worse, silence or repetitive loops. I'd say the silence is worse in the previous games we discussed, though the repetitive loops of Tomb Raider The Prophecy is pretty horrendous. A muddled mix of tribal sounds and harsh synths, along with various ambient noises, make up this soundtrack. It's certainly atmospheric, which is mostly consistent with the franchise, but I suppose I was expecting something I shouldn't have been. Manfred Linzner's work on the previous Game Boy Color titles is enjoyable when it was there. But this is just noise for the sake of it. The sound effects work well enough and help keep the game flowing while fighting wolves, dudes in creepy robes, skeleton warriors. No, not those skeleton warriors. No, not that skeleton warrior. No, not that. Oh, just forget it. Here we have 30 levels that are broken up between 5 locations. Lara starts her journey off at Wolf Fang's Peak, then heads to Vargstegen, before jetting off to the Angkor Wat, then traveling to Laconia Island, before the final journey to the Teg de Borez headquarters. The pacing is great in this title, as each level is short enough to be perfect for an on-the-go playthrough. And since item inventories aren't that important here, you'll be able to press start and grab the password before turning off the game at any time. I never really found myself in a situation where I ran out of bullets, and when I did, it was easy enough to dispel enemies with the regular handguns. Levels have various platforms and switches that can be toggled. It's all very user-friendly, with the game holding your hand a bit when you activate a switch. Similar to last episode's Curse of the Sword, the camera will pan to where you need to go once something is activated, though brain power is still required to figure out the puzzles. None of it is insanely easy, nor is it incredibly difficult. Tomb Raider: The Prophecy is probably the best game yet in this handheld universe. Despite a lackluster soundtrack, bland graphics, and the odd glitch here and there, I really enjoyed playing through the game. The difficulty was at just the right pace for me, and the focus on quick levels with simple passwords kept the focus on beating the game instead of hoarding inventory. The combat is simple yet addictive, and though the platforming is at times a bit repetitive, it was overall a worthy experience for the Tomb Raider name. And the best part is that it got me intrigued enough to play its spiritual sequels that have come out in recent years. Although my history with the Tomb Raider franchise was previously limited to only Tomb Raider Legend for the GameCube, my interest in the series has grown since the start of this project. I plan on going back and playing through the earlier titles in celebration of the 20th anniversary of Lara's very first adventure, way back on the first PlayStation. And from there, I'll travel headfirst into her latest endeavors on the PlayStation 4. So, for what it's worth, these handheld titles deserve some recognition for trying something different. And hey, if they can make a fan out of me, then maybe you can find some enjoyment as well.
What are you doing in Bolivia?
Ascending.
Well, I'm off for another adventure.
Oh, where to this time around?
I hear the war helmet of Genghis Khan has unbelievable powers. It's hidden somewhere in the Alaskan wilderness, so I'm off to find it.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Cheers to you.
Whew! Boy, that was fun. And interesting. The Tomb Raider franchise is quite a spectacle. But you know what? I think I need to go outside my realm for the next review. I need to do something totally different and totally drastic. Here's what I'm thinking. I need to enter into a game, a world, an atmosphere where there's dark caverns in a foreign place. Maybe do like a review about a game series that is having an anniversary, like a milestone. That'd be kind of cool. And have it led maybe by like a female protagonist that's as strong as she is sexy. I think that's a pretty good idea. You know, maybe it's a character that uses powerful weapons, and maybe the environment is non-linear, and oh, damn it. Like what you saw? Want more Tomb Raider goodness? Well, check out the video on the left for the first part of this Tomb Raider Handheld Trilogy. And on the right, click to watch the second game's review. Do you have a favorite Tomb Raider game? Tell us in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for the upcoming Metroid celebration. Thanks for watching.